FM 94, The Dark. It is that time again. It's time to get to know a band we play here on The Dark. It is 2021, a brand new year, and hopefully it'll be a great year for this band, Vajra, which obviously we've had on our airwaves. We're spinning their latest song, Maya, and on the phone we have Anna Maria joining us once again. And Happy New Year, Anna Maria. How are you doing?
Happy New Year to you. I'm very well, thank you.
You know, it's been a while since we've had a chance to talk, and of course, you were here in Little Falls a few years ago, even performed. We got to hang out in person for a while. How things been going, I guess, over the last couple of years? And maybe we'll even do it just before the pandemic had started here in 2020 in March, or actually earlier for others. But I guess leading up to that, how are you doing, and what were you guys up to for Vajra?
So it was a little crazy. I mean, we had a lot of touring that we had done, and then in 2018, we started recording, and then just had a little bit of touring, really not much. And I had a lot of life-changing experiences. Dave had a lot of life-changing experiences. There was like just a breaking point, and it kind of forced us to go in. So I was diagnosed with a health issue. My cat died while we were on tour in Sweden. I had a breakup, a really bad breakup with somebody I thought I would do for the rest of my life. My roommate was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer and moved out. I mean, it was just like one crazy thing after another. The IRS was like knocking on the door, wanted to do an audit. And I was like, okay, this is just crazy, like all in. So I was like, all right, we're going to stop touring, and we're going to write this material, and we're going to start to go into the studio and get this done. So that's kind of where the focus was from 2018 up until recently. And I think we were doing the videos ourselves, 100% ourselves. We wrote the story for the videos, and we shot them ourselves. We did locations ourselves. We did the costumes ourselves. We edited it ourselves. We did the colorizing, everything. So we went from the music creation with song and lyrics into, the visuals, the artwork, the videos, that sort of thing. So it's still just this creative internal circle that we've been kind of bathing in for some time.
And of course,
and here we are.
Yeah, here you are today. And then obviously 2020 happens, and 2020 was going pretty well for a couple of months. Then all of a sudden we have this pandemic called COVID-19, the coronavirus, and it basically shut down the entire world. And not only the entire world, but also the music industry, too. How did the COVID-19 affect you guys?
Well, we, of course, were planning to tour around the new album, which we obviously can't do. So we're just we're staying inside. We've already started working on the new music for the second album in the trilogy series. And we're working on video content, because what we're doing is each album, each piece of music, we are shooting, each piece of music will have a video component. And all of those videos will be fit together into one, mini movie, short film.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just focusing on that right now. We're just staying creative while we can. With less distractions.
And you mentioned the creativity, and I think we're going to see a lot of creativity out of many artists here in the next year or so, because they've had all this time to stop, reflect, and think. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally. And reevaluate. Really, I said this to Dave. We live 2 blocks from the Manhattan Bridge in New York City, and that's where everything was going down. Every night there were helicopters, there were police, and it was just insane. And I said to Dave, when it first started going down, this is monumental. Everything will change from this point. this is not temporary. This is history in the making. And I feel that. Globally on an external level, but on an internal level, because we were all forced to do everything that we were used to, the way of existing, the way of thinking of things, the way of behaving, the way of experiencing our world has shifted dramatically. And I do believe we will return to certain activities, but I think our approach to the activities that we enjoy doing is now informed differently, and it will be different. It will be different in the future. It already feels different.
Yeah, it's ironic. You're in the New York area, and I had a chance to talk with Madam Mayhem. She's in New York City too, and right during the pandemic was happening. And she was just saying it was just an eerie kind of feeling. I guess, what was it like through your eyes of what was going on in your state of New York?
It was, so we were right in downtown New York City. It was definitely eerie. It was apocalyptic,
Yeah.
to quote Christopher. We boarded up stores. Everything was closed. Everyone had evacuated. Most people, not everyone, most people had evacuated. So there were the tourists, or hardly any tourists. Everything was dead. Nothing was open. Everyone was freaked out. We would go to the grocery store, and then you'd wear the mask, and if you heard anybody sneeze in the store, you'd be like, "Oh my God!"
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty crazy. We were really freaked out at first. We didn't appreciate. We did appreciate how serious it was, but we didn't really understand. There's a lot of confusion between or among the people who are giving us information, right? So that was quite trying to try to understand what we should and should not be doing. And part of that was because I think a lot of people just didn't really know at that point what was going on, even the doctors.
Right.
So we were scared, and we just stayed home. We did yoga on the roof. We just hung out. Yeah. We played music. We made some videos. We just thought, all right, well, let's do this. And so we would do that kind of stuff. What I missed is that I'm a runner, and I do yoga. I can do yoga in my house, but I do prefer to do yoga with an indoor setting. And I miss running, and I would run outside. But I'll tell you, every time I did run outside, there was a lot of anxiety because other people would be near you, and you just never knew. It just takes one person to just sneeze on you that has it, and you just don't know. So that was kind of freaky. Compound that now with the Black Lives Matter movement, and in New York City, there were clashes between the police and protesters. In addition to that, there were opportunists who were acting fool and, breaking into Soho stores and stuff like that. But that was a separate movement.
It's been a crazy year, and that's for sure. And not only obviously in the world itself, but even the music industry. And you obviously had a chance to come here to Little Falls and perform at a small venue here at one point. And you worry now about if a lot of those small venues are not going to be there for bands anymore. And that's a huge concern. I would have to believe for a band like yourself and for all bands.
Yeah, that's totally a concern. I mean, we've been talking about that, but we're just, thankfully the Save Our Stages, bill went through, right? So people are receiving some funds.
Right.
What the extent of that is, I don't know. And did everybody get it? I don't know. So yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue when we decide to start booking the tours to get out there again.
We're talking with Anna Maria from Vajra. I want to get to the album here that's coming out here in just a minute, but just finishing up, I guess, with COVID-19 and kind of how it's affected the music industry. I guess if you had to look in the crystal ball, Anna Maria, I guess, what do you envision concerts looking like here in the future?
Well, Dr. Fauci just announced that he believes that concerts will resume in the fall, but that masks will be required. Which, to be quite honest, I'm happy about because
you got a lot of merchandise to sell now.
Well, no, not even. It's not even that. It's just that, like, I'm vertically challenged, right? So a lot of times when I'm speaking with people, I get breathed on or spat on unknowingly, like unintentionally. So I'm very happy that people will be wearing masks when at the shows. That'll work for me.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I know Dr. Fauci did come out just the other day, as you were mentioning, and they're trying to get the vaccination out to everybody, and the 70-85% of the public, if they can get that, so then that way, hopefully, and what he was saying is open everything up. Basically, you wouldn't even have to cut down on the crowds. Just basically, you'd have to wear a mask would be the only thing, which would be great.
Once there's a herd immunity, that should be fine, I suppose. I mean, we came back from the Spanish flu, right? So
exactly. We did back in 1918, 1919. It did happen. So, hey, let's move on to the music side for Vajra. And, I know you've had all sorts of people that have been helping you out. You mentioned Sahaj to me earlier. And they actually got some new stuff out, too, which is awesome. But let's talk about the new album here, Urkala, and it's coming out on Friday. Maya is a song off that album. Give us the history of this album and in the making, I guess.
Sure. So Urkala is the first album in a trilogy of albums that's exploring consciousness. Urkala is the Sumerian word for the underworld. It is a word that represents, to me, the lowest level of consciousness. So it's ego, base level thinking, materialism, selfishness, lie, cheat, steal, jealousy, all the base emotions, all the base actions associated with those emotions. And that's what this album explores. So Maya means delusion, illusion. The illusion of the world, the illusion of what you think, how you think of who you are. The I, but that there is an I behind the I. There is something else that can observe who you think you are. So I'm Anna Maria Penna. I live in New York City. I'm the singer of Vajra. I'm 5'1", whatever it is, I'm female, but beyond all that, who am I? And that's what Maya is about. And then there's other, and the other songs also explore those kind of issues.
Very cool. And this song really started to take off here in November. I know you kind of put it out to radio stations. It was added by many, many radio stations, and I just looked today on the Foundations chart. It is at number 22, and I don't know. I think that might be the highest song you've ever had on the charts. Am I right on that?
I think so, yeah. I think the Mirror did pretty well, but I think when the Mirror was out 2017, I'm not sure about the Foundations chart if that was around, but I think it peaked at 37 maybe on the Billboard chart.
Right.
Billboard, mainstream rock, yeah. So I think it was 37. So this one's already surpassed that. I think we're up to, I don't know, on the Billboard chart. I want to say 35, 33 already. So.
Right. What does it mean for you? I mean, obviously you make music because you love to make music. You love to show your expression of things. But I guess on a numbers side of things, what does it mean to see that many spins happening across this great nation?
For me, it feels great. It feels really great that that it's resonating. The way I think of it is, when we write music, everything's a ritual. Everything is ritual based, and what I mean by that is, maybe people don't understand ritual, but when you go to church, it's a ritual. If you go to temple, you go and there's a ritual, there's prayer involved. It's the same concept. It's just we call things different things, but it's really the same. And you go into a space where you get out of your own way so that you're receptive to hear spirit. And when you're in that space, you can hear music, you can hear lyrics, you can hear inspiration, you can hear a lot of different things. And I think of us as translators. We catch the music, we catch the lyrics, and we bring them into the material world. And I don't, you don't own it, right? It doesn't come from me. It comes through me.
Right.
So it's affected by my translation, by the way I see things. But we try to stay close and as pure as we can to the inspiration. And so when you see spins, you never know if it's going to resonate. You just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it moves you, then you're like, yeah, I'm going to put this out. And so when you hear spins, we see spins, we see people fans really loving what you're doing. It's just cool that you were able to actually transfer something that resonates to other people.
Anna Maria, I think what's really cool about this whole thing and how it's doing so well on the rock charts is you haven't had to change who you are. And that's the cool thing, because, at first when, maybe somebody hears your music, they're like, I don't get it maybe at first. But then when they continue to listen to it and then they understand and start absorbing it, I think they're getting it now. And you've never had to change. You've been who you always are. And that's sometimes you see artists change because they just want to get to the top. That's their ultimate goal. But you're not like that, and you're finally breaking through on the stuff that you've always knew that was out there that people should be listening to. So kudos to you, kudos to Dave, and kudos to Vajra.
Thank you. I mean, our inspiration are artists like Tool and Pink Floyd, and they did it on their own terms. They were relentless. They were like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it this way. If you're really surrendering and really dedicated to the craft, but I don't mean being the best vocalist, the best guitarist. I mean to the creation, to what the creation dictates to you. I believe that it will resonate, because I believe we're working with universal spaces. When you get out of your way and when you actually listen to these spaces, to spirit.
Rakala is the album. It'll be coming out here on Friday, and Maya, the first single off it, and I got to believe you have other ones lined up in that, and especially with the momentum of how this song is starting to take over. How long do you think it'll be until you start releasing a second song in that? And I guess what are the plans? It's too early to tell. Everything is changing daily, but what is the hope, I guess, for Vajra in 2021 with this album and also getting out and touring?
Well, I'll start with the album. The album is a combination. Everything on the album, everything in this trilogy series is based on a derivative of three. So there are three, songs on the album. There are three soundscapes on the album, and there are on the vinyl and CD, the physical copies of the album, there is an additional EP called Shadow Queen, which is set in three movements. So it's all meant to take you on a journey from start to finish. And if you have the physical copies of the album, we also have a recommended ritual upon the first listen that we include, and I've created ritual packs with certain Reiki-infused candles, incenses, and I created some essential oil spritzes to enhance this whole experience. With that being said, we released a video called the song Sever the Tie, which we haven't gone to radio yet with.
Yep.
We're going to decide whether or not we want to do that.
I think you should, by the way. I'm just going to cut you off, but yeah, I think you should definitely go that way. That song is phenomenal, and if people haven't heard it yet, they should go to your Facebook page or your social media and check it out.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, and I think it's also on Spotify.
Yep.
So people can check it out. But then we have another song that probably is definitely probably more radio friendly than Sever the Tie. So we're looking at that one too. And then what we're planning on is going back into the studio late spring, early summer. We have a demo already, and we're going to try to just finish recording that for that second album. And then touring, if it resumes in fall, we'll look at, options for touring for fall or spring of 2022. We can't wait to get on the road. So it's just a matter of opportunities and, getting the booking together and stuff like that. So it's just too soon to really flesh it out because we just don't know. And there's a lot of things that can happen between now and the time, we actually start booking. So it's up in the air for now, but we do hope to tour. We hope to be out your way. For sure, we would love to be out your way because we love coming out that way.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Well, we'd love to have you. We would love to have you.
Thank you.
And the other thing, too, I tell you what, even though there was a pandemic going on in 2020, we did have our third annual End of Summer Bash where we actually had 3 bands. It was outdoors, but we had 3 bands here, so we did perform.
Nice.
So we're scheduled for our 4th annual coming up on September 18th. So we'd love to maybe have you here if you're able to make a swing this way and pick up some other gigs along the way, I guess you could say.
I'm going to put that in. I'm going to pencil that in.
I was just going to say.
That would be really fun. Yeah. We can try to build something around that.
Yes. Hey, one thing I want to ask you, I've never asked this question because I don't think anybody's ever lived in a pandemic before unless you're back in 1918, 1919, but what's one thing, Anna Maria, that you learned about yourself during the pandemic that you liked? And one thing you didn't like about yourself as you're going through a pandemic and you're like going, well, I need to do something different maybe. I know it's an odd question to ask, but I mean, I bet you probably got a good answer for this.
Well, I mean, one thing that I liked, I really liked the fact that up until the pandemic hit, I was very healthy.
Okay.
And that I valued my health. I didn't value my health. I didn't realize how healthy I was. I didn't realize how important health is until the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm.
And until my health got, affected even more through the pandemic. My fears, there are fears, we all have our fears.
Okay.
I've come in direct contact with that. And I'm trying to, we all try to go into spaces where we can resolve those issues. I still have a fear of rejection. I still have a fear of I'm not doing enough, or I'm not good enough, or my voice is not good enough. I always have that in the back of my head somewhere. And I've been trying to actually resolve those fears. And if I can't resolve them, at least make it so that those voices are a lot less in my head than the other voices. So it's kind of like the concept of how do you eliminate darkness? You shine a light.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about focus. Do we want to focus on the negative stuff, or do we want to focus on other stuff that might be more beneficial or positive to us? And I think through this time period, we've had a lot of quiet in order to meditate and think about these things and actually start to implement them on a smaller scale because of our place. We have less distractions. We've been home for the most part, right? And we don't have a TV. So, it's easier when you don't have some of these things. And when you discipline yourself, even if you do have them, to maybe not put them on and instead focus on a breathing exercise, do some stretches, create. So.
Wow. That's cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. It's your life. So I just kind of curious about that because, it's people had a chance to reflect a little bit. I think if anything of this pandemic that happened, it made people stop and think about things that are going around them too, and not just always worried about other things. It just stopped for a second, which in today's world, the way it had been going, there wasn't any pausing at all. So this is actually, it was almost like people, you need to pause for a second.
It was great. I mean, it's not great because of what is going on, but it's great in the sense that we've actually had that pause. I welcome the pause. My life is just insane, running around from morning to night, from the time I wake up, checking things, doing social networks, all kinds of literally. And it's like nice to be able to say, stop, just stop now, and let's reprioritize, because look at where we all are. And what is important to us, again, another moment when I moved to India, it was about reevaluating who I am. It was about leaving all of my assumptions of who I thought I was, why I behaved the way I behaved, why I talk the way I talk, why I move my hands when I talk, little things like this, and immersing yourself into another culture and learning that there are so many other possibilities to exist. This is the same kind of break but I'm doing it in my own setting, and we all have that opportunity to reevaluate and do that during this time. We should use it wisely. We don't have much time on this earth in our being, as who we are. No time should be taken for granted, because we don't know when we will leave this space. So it is important to learn and to grow as beings.
Well said. Yeah. And I think, speaking of that, I think you have something else you got to get to shortly, so we'll have to let you go tonight.
I have a spiritual class tonight. I have a Kabbalah class at 8:30.
There you go. Exactly.
I know, it's a new moon, so it's a great night, a great time to start something new.
Awesome. The new album comes out on Friday. If more people want information about the album, how can they get that information and get a hold of the album?
www.vajraofficial.com. V as in Victor, VAJRA, official.com.
Awesome. A lot of fun talking to you, and I need to see you in person soon, okay?
I know. I miss you guys. I really miss you guys.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully
good to hear you're well.
Well, hopefully get you on the calendar here maybe for September for our 4th annual End of Summer Bash.
Yeah, let's talk about that some more. That sounds good.
Once again, that is Anna Maria. The song is Maya. You're hearing it right now. It's on The Dark. It's on FM 94.